Cooper's career was ended due to injury. Arch Manning's career is going to be ended due to being shitty. Or should I say Pitt, bitch? Y'all ain't doing nothing. Pitt's been irrelevant since Kenny Pickett left in 2021. Yeah! Well, you want to know what Clemson is? Not shit. I am over Colorado's shit. Over. That's one of the biggest things as a fan base that we always say. You don't lose to Vanderbilt. As they fucking should be, dead last, because you fucking suck and you're dog shit. Okay?
Right. Hard work does not guarantee success. It doesn't, and it never will. But it absolutely will put you in the best position to be able to achieve it. And I think that's one thing that we've seen throughout the course of this season. So we got some remarkable men that are sitting here in front of me. And the work you put in, the decision that you made, just to say yes, because you know what? It's really easy when things don't go well, right? And you hurt, right? And you're angry, and you're sad. The easiest thing to do is to pull back and stop. That's what the world wants you to do. But there's only a select few people that are willing to freaking fight. And I am grateful for you. I'm grateful for what you've done. I'm grateful for who you are. You deserve better than that. So I apologize to you. For you guys that are playing your last game, you had a season that will be remembered forever. And I respect the hell out of who you are for being in here today, for stepping on that field and going and giving everything forever.
Calm and confident. And then you put this thing on display. You put it on display for 60 minutes. You hit their ass over and over and over again. Man, you give relentless effort.
Brian takes that job, and then he reunites here with Malzahn. Here is Danzy now, and look at Mekhi Danzy. How about it, Knowles? Watch that play clock. They're going for it. And they get it. That's a big smile for Tommy. It's a 2-touchdown lead for the Knowles.
Don't know what's wrong, but something isn't right. Don't feel I belong in the light. Passion has gone and love's taken flight. Things just feel heavy tonight. I'm tasting no tears, I'm fighting no fears, but still there's a hole in my heart. Not on my own, but I feel it sometimes. Wondering what should I do?
Oh, man. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another 2026 college football record prediction video. And up today, the Florida State Seminoles. Now, a lot of you probably know I'm a Florida State guy. If it's not Tennessee, it's Florida State. And it's been a rough go at it the past couple of seasons. Mike Norvell era started off kind of You give him some slack in 2020 and 2021, first couple years. Then you get to 2022, Florida State goes 10-3, and it's like, all right. Then 2023 happens. They go undefeated in the regular season, win the conference, ACC champions. Then you have that bowl game after they were snubbed from the 14 playoff because Jordan Travis got injured. And then tons of players pulled out. And they basically had their water boys playing against Georgia. Georgia ended up beating them 63-3. And it's been a bad deal ever since. I don't know what happened to Florida State. And I don't even think the FBI could investigate enough to realize what has happened to Florida State. But the biggest thing I can say is Florida State relies too heavily on the transfer portal, and you have a bunch of guys that just don't care about the program. And once you have guys that aren't passionate or care about the team as a whole and the history behind Florida State University, you're going to have that because all they're there for is playing time, and they're not going to really care about the traditions. And that's the sad part. And while, yeah, NIL and the transfer portal are a big part of today's football world, you still got to recruit well, and Florida State hadn't done that well under Mike Norvell. They decided to keep him for this season. I wasn't high on that. I've said he needs to be fired, but all in all, it's kind of like Butch Jones for me. I loved Butch Jones when he was at Tennessee. Very nice guy. Mike Norvell's in that same category. But to be a head coach, sometimes you can't be the nice guy on the field, and it's starting to get to where Mike Norvell's like that. He's a really good guy, and he's had times where he's a good coach. We're going to read off his resume here, but it's just a bummer, man. But he is the current head coach for the Florida State Seminoles. His all-time record is 38-34. His annual salary is $9.7 million as of 2024. He was a wide receiver at Louisiana Tech in 2000. Then from 2001 to 2005, he was a star receiver for Central Arkansas, and I'm pretty sure he's their all-time receptions or receiving leader. So that's pretty good. His head coaching career, or coaching career in general, he was at Central Arkansas in 2006, Tulsa from 2007-2008, and then he changed position groups from 2009-2010. Then he was at Pitt in 2011. He was at Arizona State from 2012-2013, and then he changed position groups in 2014-2015. He was the head coach at Memphis from 2016 to 2019, and then he's been at Florida State ever since 2020. His head coaching record all time is 76-49. His bowl record's 1-4. Memphis won the American Championship under Norvell in 2019. Florida State won the ACC under Mike Norvell in 2023. Memphis had 3 American West Division championships under Mike Norvell, 2017, 2018, 2019. Mike Norvell won the Paul Bear Bryant Award in 2023, the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year Award in 2023, the ACC Coach of the Year Award in 2023, and the AFCA Regional Coach of the Year Award in 2023. It's hard for me to really grasp what has happened to Florida State. 2024 was just a season to forget. That was awful. Last year, they go out and they beat Alabama, and then they blow out 2 nobodies, but they beat Alabama. You think, hey, maybe last year was just, they were so focused on the lawsuits and too many portal changes and just the devastation from 2023. Maybe it's just a fluke year, but then all of a sudden they go and they lose a bunch of games they're not supposed to, and they go 5-7. I just don't know what's going on at Florida State. I don't know if it's the athletic department. I don't know if it's the administration. I don't know if it's just the university. I don't know if it's Mike Norvell. I don't know if it's just the football I don't know what's going on there at Florida State, but something's got to change this year. And something's got to change fast. Because this isn't a good deal, man, at all. And I have some more bad news. I don't have a problem with the guy, but we're going to read into Florida State's projected starting quarterback in 2026. They're saying it's going to be Ashton Daniels. I'm familiar with him. He's played in the SEC. Hold on, let me pull this up. Ashton Daniels was at Auburn, and I remember him at Auburn. So let's go ahead and read into this. So, Ashton Daniels played in 10 games as the team's Wildcat quarterback as a true freshman for Stanford. He became Stanford's starting quarterback in his sophomore year. In his first start, he passed for 249 yards and 2 touchdowns against Hawaii. Then he went to Auburn on December 16th, 2024. In Week 8, playing Arkansas, he got the starting job after Jackson Arnold was benched for throwing a pick six. Auburn then won the game. The next week against Kentucky in a loss, Daniels had a far worse performance, failing to complete half of his passes, only throwing for 108 yards. However, he redeemed himself against a ranked Vanderbilt, passing for 353 yards and 2 touchdowns while rushing for 89 yards and 2 more touchdowns, though Auburn ended up losing the game. In his final game with Auburn, he led the Tigers to a close loss against Alabama in the Iron Bowl. On January 6, 2026, Ashton Daniels committed to transfer to Florida State University as a graduate transfer with 1 year of eligibility remaining. See, this is the problem. Like, most of these guys are going to Florida State for playtime, and they don't really care about the program. He joins the Seminoles quarterback room for the 2026 season, which includes fellow graduate transfer Dean DeNoble from Lafayette, returning redshirt freshman Kevin Sperry from the 2025 roster, and incoming true freshman Jaden O'Neal from the 2026 recruiting class. So, Ashton Daniels has played 37 games in college. His record is 5-18 as a starter. His stats are 434 for 721 passing, 60.2 completion percentage, 4,783 yards, 24 touchdowns, 22 interceptions. And then rushing, he had 345 attempts, 1,397 yards, and 11 touchdowns. So, clearly, Ashton Daniels is a mid-tier quarterback, so I don't really know what to expect out of him. Then again, Joey Aguilar was kind of looked at the same way last season. You know, interceptions were a problem, turnovers were a problem. Then he came out and did good. Now, I'm not saying Ashton Daniels is going to do that because Florida State and Tennessee are drastically different, but I kind of looked at Aguilar the same last year. I was like, oh, God, what are we getting out of this guy? And then he proved me wrong. Aguilar did good. He led the SEC in passing. So, we'll see. But, now let's go ahead and recap last season for Florida State. Like I mentioned, they beat Alabama 31-17. Then they beat 2 nobodies. They beat East Texas A&M 77-3. Had a bye week, which was a terrible place for a bye week. Terrible place for a bye week. I don't even know why you'd have them right there. Then you beat Kent State 66-10. Here's where it went downhill. Virginia was good last year. They had 10 wins. They were a really good team. But Florida State shit the bed right here, and it just fell from there. Lost to Virginia 46-38 in 2 overtimes. Then you lost to a Miami team that went to the national championship game and nearly won it 28-22. So looking back last year, Virginia and Miami weren't bad losses, but you don't want to say a loss is good. Then you lost to Pitt 34-31 in a questionable one. And then the loss that got me was at Stanford. Now, I did say Florida State going on the road to Stanford would be a challenge because of the time change difference, kind of like what Arkansas is going to have to do this year with Utah. So I'm not saying the loss was 100% shell-shocking, but it's a loss that shouldn't have happened. Then you go to the bye week and you played Wake Forest, and I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, this is probably a loss. Wake Forest ended up being 9-4 last year. Well, Florida State comes out and wins 42-7. It's like, oh shit, maybe they're back. Then you go at Clemson. Very bad Clemson team last year. Lose 24-10. Before beating Virginia Tech 34-14, you got some momentum. And the loss that just said it all. You had back-to-back road games against NC State and Florida. You lost both of them. It was heartbreaking last year. Florida State should have beat Virginia. They should have beat Pitt. Should have beat Stanford. I don't know what happened, man. Florida and NC State were bad losses too. That recaps last season for them. So, without further ado, let's get into the 2026 record prediction for the Florida State Seminoles. Is this Mike Norvell's last year? We shall see. I personally like him. I wish he could do good. And honestly, I don't know if Florida State can afford to fire the guy, even though they probably should have already. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. So I have done an Alabama and Florida prediction, and I have Florida State losing both of those. So that already starts with 2 losses right there. Then New Mexico State and Central Arkansas, I have you winning both of those. That Central Arkansas game is going to be very awkward, though, because I just got done telling you about Mike Norvell's time with Central Arkansas. And does Florida State lose to Central Arkansas? I swear, dude. If that happens, he gets fired that day. But I have you beating New Mexico State and Central Arkansas. I have you losing Alabama and Florida. So that leaves you with a home game at night on a Monday against SMU. SMU's a pretty good team. I have them upsetting Notre Dame this year. They've been a better, well-rounded team than Florida State the past couple of seasons. And I think they go into Doak Campbell, and I think they shock you guys. And I think Florida State falls to SMU going into a bye week. What is it with these week 3 bye weeks? This is not good. Then you quickly lose to Bama, and then you beat Central Arkansas. So you start the year 2-2 before you host Virginia. I don't think Virginia's going to be too much worse than they were last season. They got Bo Pribula coming in there, and they also got Peyton Lewis from Tennessee coming in there. A few other key pieces. I think Virginia's going to be somewhat better than last year, around the same, maybe a little far off, but I think at the worst, Virginia's probably going to go 8-4. I might do a record prediction for them so we can get a real, set mindset on them, but nonetheless, I don't think Virginia's going to fall off too much, and I think Florida State falls to Virginia here and falls to 2-3 before traveling to Louisville to take on a pretty good Jeff Brom-led Louisville team the past few seasons. They've had some questionable losses, but they've also had some major-time, big-time upset wins. With it being at Louisville, though, it's a tough spot for Florida State. I got to take Louisville here. And same for the Miami game. I got to take Miami. Back-to-back road games right here. That's a terrible spot. At least you get a bye week after these, but not a great spot at all if you're the Noles. And that'll put you at 2-5 entering the bye week. See, this is already not good. Now, I could try to give you the benefit of the doubt here. You could beat SMU. You could beat Virginia. So maybe you enter it at 4-3, maybe at the best. But I'm thinking 2-5. Just from what I've seen, Florida State's gonna have to prove me wrong. Then you come off the bye week and play Clemson. Clemson's winning. 2-6. I'm not picking Florida State to beat Clemson until they can do it. They did do it a couple times back, when they were great and all, but I'm not doing it. I'm not picking them. So 2-6 at Boston College. This is an interesting one. It is on the road, but actually, I'm going to take Florida State here. I do think, regardless, they're still going to be a better team than Boston College. It is on the road, so don't get me wrong. Florida State could lose this game, but I think Florida State gets the win here, and they advance to 3-6 on the season before you play at Pitt. Well, Pitt came to you last season and beat you at home. I think this one's on a Friday night at Pitt. I think you fall here to 3-7. Before you take on NC State at home, last year you lost to them on the road. Surprisingly, this year I think you get revenge and you beat NC State. And that'll give you your 4th win on the season. Now, that's another 50-50 game. Could lose that one. And then, of course, I have you losing to Florida. So, there you go. I think Florida State goes 4-8 in 2026. Best case scenario, you beat New Mexico State and SMU, start 2-0. I don't think you're beating Bama. That's 2-1. 3-1 against Central Arkansas. Maybe you beat Virginia. That's 4-1. Lose to Louisville, Miami. That's 4-3. Lose to Clemson, 4-4. Maybe you beat Boston College, 5-4. And then maybe somebody you upset Pitt, 6-4. Beat NC State 7-4, and then maybe split the game against Florida. Maybe beat them 8-4, lose that 7-5. I think at the very best, Florida State can go 8-4 in 2026, but I think they're going to go 4-8. So, regardless, you're not making the playoffs. You're not making the ACC title game. None of that. So, it's unfortunate, and it breaks my heart to see. It really does. But 3 losing seasons in a row, man, you got to start thinking about a different head coach, and I hate it. I wish Mike Norvell could prove me wrong, and just fix things, but I just don't see that being done. So, yeah, there you have it. So, Florida State goes 4-8 in 2026, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.